arrange your video, you are going to have a better view of the presentation of Carla. So please do it. It's at the top of your screen. It's together as like if you were talking on the phone. So press that one, please.
Yep. I can see that people from Lobo Black has came into the room as a presenter. They need to come as observer only. I'm gonna call them right now.
Yeah, I think that they already connected, Enrique.
Actually, I did.
Okay, great.
So I can see that Carla is already there. She's setting.
Hi, Carla, can you hear us?
Yeah, she's mute.
We can't hear you, Carla. We can see you, but we can't hear you. Oh, she's mute.
Yeah, now you can hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Very well. Thank you so much, Carla.
Yeah, it has been kind of a morning, but that's fine. And so, I'm going to do it in Spanish, but lo voy a hacer en español.
Well, in this case,
if you can do this in English, will be perfect because we have some people from the city of Toronto and other regions. So if you can do it in English, that will be perfect, Carla.
But the presentation is in Spanish. When I spoke to Valeria, I mentioned
yeah, just present yourself in English, please.
And so, you want in English or in Spanish?
If you're talking about the trade, the free trade agreement, you can do it in Spanish. Just present yourself in English, please.
Okay. So the audience, because what I understood is that the audience, it's small and medium enterprises from Peru. So I thought that would be easier for them to listen in Spanish, and that's why the presentation is Spanish. But also if your audience is in English, so I don't know, I don't know, what do you prefer? Tell me. Because I'm going to read in
I think we have both. We have both, Carla, in Spanish and English, because we have people from the companies that we have from Peru, and also some other companies from Canada. So I think that's not a problem if you do it in English, because we all are supposed to speak English. So that's not a problem, even that your presentation is in Spanish. I don't know if you agree, Enrique.
Yeah, that's fine. It's okay.
Yep, I believe it's almost 9
okay, so,
a.m.
Great. So let's. Okay, perfect. So let me introduce to all of you. Carla, is your last name Bates or Bates?
Bates.
Okay, Carla Bates, she is Trade and Custom Manager Reserve for KPMG, and she's going to talk about us, about the free trade agreement, PERÚ-CANADA. So thank you so much for being with us today, and welcome.
Thank you, Veronica, and welcome everyone. Well, as Veronica mentioned, I'm Manager of Trade and Customs in KPMG Canada. A little bit of my background is before joining KPMG, I worked for Walmart Canada in the Import and Trade Compliance Department. And before of that, I worked at Ferrero Canada as well in logistics and transportation, but also in the Customs Compliance Department. Prior to that, I worked for the government in Mexico. I'm originally from Mexico, and I have a Bachelor of Law. And here in Canada, I have the certification of Certified Customs Specialist and the certification for transportation and logistics. So it's kind of a holistic view of what is from end to end the process for importing to export and everything in between I have been involved through my career. So today I would like to talk about the free trade agreement between Peru and Canada. So
Carla, you are mute. You have to unmute yourself. Use your mouse and put your mouse over your video because you are mute. If you put your mouse over your there.
now you can hear me?
Yes,
So
I can hear you well. Thank you so much.
I need to start all over?
Just 30 seconds ago.
Okay.
No, we heard everything.
Did you hear the presentation or no?
I did, but the last 30 seconds you just somehow
Yes,
mute
we
yourself.
heard your presentation.
Okay, so then, well, I will start talking about the Peru and Canada Free Trade Agreement. This is going to be their 10th anniversary. It started August 1st of 2009. First, clarification, the presentation is in Spanish, and also I will be speaking in English, but if there's any question that somebody wants to address in Spanish, I will be able to take it, but probably at the end of this brief presentation. So I was saying that this year the free trade agreement will be on their 10th anniversary. So it has been 10 years of, it seems, a very good relationship between two countries. And we see that Canada, the main products that Canada exports to Peru is wheat and vegetables, right? And in terms of what are the main products that Peru exports to Canada, we have gold with 39%, lead, fish, coffee, and some of other fruits and garments, right? And one important is quinoa. So as we can see, this 10 years has been, as also I was reading in some of the annual, last year, the consulate of Peru made a very wide analysis of the 9 years of the free trade agreement. And one of the conclusions was that it was a good opportunity for the Peruvian goods in terms of coming to Canada and open the market to new horizons, in this case, to North America. Can you still hear me? Okay. So in terms of what are the opportunities that we could find under this free trade agreement, since the beginning of the free trade agreement, Canada eliminated almost 99% of their customs duties to most of the articles coming from Peru. I know that part of the audience are medium and small enterprises focused also in garments. So I would like to bring this example to you. For instance, if all the garments classified under Chapter 61 to 63 of the customs tariff, this customs tariff is let me put it in an easy way. It's like a big book that has all the goods from horse to I would say a very complicated machine. Everything has to be classified, and for customs purposes, it has to have 8 or 10 digit classification. In this case, the garments are classified under Chapter 61 to 63. And for instance, I will put the example of, let's say, a blazer made of wool, because I know that in Peru you have very good quality. So let's say that you want to import this blazer into Canada. First, we need to identify what is the classification to determine if this garment is subject to customs duties or not. In this case, I did this as an example and searched that this wool blazer will be classified under Chapter 61, and this would be the classification 61 or 331. And when I looked to that classification, I found that the free trade agreement between Peru and Canada, if you want to bring this garment to Canada, it would be 0% duty. But what happens if you are not a Peruvian, let's say, importer or exporter in this case? Then the same garment, let's say, coming from New Zealand or Australia, will pay 11% duty, right? Or if it's coming from another country, let's say Argentina, would probably pay 18%. What is important to note is that if you want to bring these products into Canada, you need to realize that these products need to be, will comply with the rules of origin. And each free trade agreement has their own rules, and pretty much it has to be produced in the country. There are different, let's say, rules depending of the product that you want to export, but everything is contained on that, on the free trade agreement. The next one. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, pretty much 99% of the products coming from Peru are like under 0% duty, so that's what I think is a very good advantage for the Peruvian products. And saying that, I would like to give kind of an overview. If you want to import to Canada, what would you be looking? Well, first, as you will need to get a business number. This is a very simple requirement that you can comply in Canada. It's you fill it a form and they will ask you for specific things, but it's a very simple thing to get it in Canada. Then, as I mentioned in my previous, in my example, you need to identify, let's say if you want to import this blazer, if there's any specific regulations in terms of, I would say, Health Canada or other government agencies. For instance, all the garments should have, the labels should be in English and French. That's a requirement for Canada. And for each specific item, it has to go through a vetting process in terms of finding what other government agencies would be involved or that your product require a certificate or need to comply with any regulation from other government agencies, right? For instance, if you are bringing, I don't know, food, CFIA, that is the Canada Food Inspection Agency, will probably need to give you a permit before that, and that's kind of an idea of what it is. Then you need to identify, as the example that I gave for the blazer, the tariff classification, right? And with that, we do need to determine if your, in this case, your blazer or your garment complies with the rules of origin from the free trade agreement with Peru. It's very important to estimate and to give the value for duty. Canada Customs does not accept that you say, oh, the garment costs $1 or 10 cents, because it's what I think it's that the value has to be determined with accurate information, because that is important for the duty and all the taxes that need to be paid. As I mentioned, it's to be better to if your product requires other government agencies and other permit or licenses from different government agencies. Another factor that you probably will need to consider is the transportation from, in this case, from Peru to Canada, and the Incoterms involved, because that also the Incoterms provide the responsibility in terms of, and liability in terms of the goods. So that's a very important area to focus on. Also, when you are importing to Canada, it would be a good idea to get a customs broker. They have the expertise and the team that will help you to do the customs clearance for your goods. And also that's a regulation and a requirement. As an importer, you need to keep a record of your files or of the import entries for 6 years. So this is kind of an overview, and I wanted to talk about between the advantage that you as a Peruvian potential exporter, or probably you are exporting right now, and what are the requirements for the import. So we can have together both, whether you're going to export and then what would be the requirements to import into Canada. And yeah, I think that is kind of the general overview that I wanted to talk this morning. And I would like to open here is my information, and I would like to open the floor for any questions. If you have, I can probably open, I can do it if you want in Spanish or in English, whatever you want. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you so much for your information. I believe that we have the chat. So if any of you want to ask anything through the chat, Carla is going to be able to answer your questions in English and in Spanish.
Yeah, we have right now up to 16 people in the room from different parts of the world, including Canada and Peru. So if anybody has a question for Carla, something that you need more like a specific details about it, feel free to ask Carla using the chat area in the sidebar on the right. Carla, if somebody wants to actually send you an email directly,
Carla, is your organization willing to help these kind of companies?
Yeah, I think it's KPMG has. I'm part of the Trade and Customs practice here in Toronto area, downtown and Toronto North. We have offices in both parts of the city, and yeah, that's part of our goal, or to help enterprises to facilitate this process into Canada. Yeah, for sure. And we have, and in this case, one of what I would say the advantage would be that in this case I speak Spanish, so sometimes it's easy for someone to ask more questions or feel more comfortable in terms of, because sometimes we don't know exactly all the terms or the terminology, and it's also easy, I would say, in my view, to have somebody that speaks the same language and probably will help you to navigate through all of this process, at least in an easy way. Yeah, for sure, that's something that we can do that.
Tremendous. I see we have a group of people here. Apparently, they understand. Let me tell you this, Carla. All the exporters and exhibitors that we have today in this interactive fair, they have experience already exporting, perhaps not to Canada, but they have experience already exporting to the United States, to Europe, to Asia, because I've been having conversation with several of them. I know that perhaps they're a little bit shy today, but I know they have more questions for you regarding, how they can export to Canada. Carla, if somebody wants to connect with you directly, can you please write down your email in the chat box area so they can perhaps send you an email directly?
Right now it's shown in my, I think you can see my my picture, and it shows the phone and my email address, but for sure I can write it here.
Exactly, I can see that.
And also we need to let them know, Enrique, that PMG is our official sponsor. We are proud to have you here. Of course, they also have their own virtual room. If you want to visit them, you can leave a message or talk to the people who's in charge of this virtual room. So, Enrique, I don't know if you are able to share in the chat area the address to get into their virtual room?
Yes. If somebody wants to come in here as a
So in their virtual room,
as a viewer, invitation is to come into this actually room as a viewers. So feel free to share the information onto other friends, because they can definitely join us and have, you know, a face-to-face conversation with Carla, with us, regarding, you know, how we can accelerate the development of businesses between Peru and Canada. So, Carla, you know, you have many years doing this with KPMG. Meaning, for someone, for example, who have done, you know, exportation into Canada, what we forget the most important thing for them to understand. You know, you are talking to a small company in Peru. What would you say is the 3 steps that we, you know, you have to export directly from Peru to Canada? What would you say that?
I would say number 1, know your product. You need to identify what is the material composition. You need to have a very good knowledge, and pretty much I think all of them know what is the product. That would be 1. I would say second one would be to get in contact, in this case, with here in Canada, with, I would say, the Peru Chamber Association, if there's one, and with the consulate probably, and also with a consultant, right, to guide you through this process. I would say that's very important, because if, let's say that you know very well your product, but you don't know what is the classification, and what exactly is that, or if there's any other regulation that probably you need. So that's why it's important to get the advice from the consultants that has been doing this for a long time, and that can guide you through this process. And the third one, I would say that the transportation, the third one I would say is more like a cost analysis, because you need to figure out very well how much is the cost in terms of how much it costs your product, how much it will cost to export. But in most of the cases, the most expensive charge that you have is the transportation. So that's something that you need to really consider, and what could be a different areas of opportunity that you have, if you can do a consolidated, if you can bring it by sea, or I don't know. You need to figure it out what could be the best approach to bring your product to Canada, considering these three things: knowing your product, cost analysis, and getting the advice from a consultant that can help you. A consultant, I mean, could be like KPMG or the customs broker. That also could be another option, right?
Good. You know, I'm receiving also questions not directly from here, but from actually.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead, Veronica.
I just wanted to share that KPMG shared with us a document that you can download. I believe it's in their own virtual room, so it's available for everyone. So if you want to visit their virtual room, that's available for everyone, and it's very important because you have all the steps that you need to follow before you export or open or expand your business to Canada. So that's really important for me to let you know.
Good. Of course, we're in Peru. You are in Canada, Carla. So definitely exporters should be prepared for Canada customs documentation, and we're talking about bilingual actually labeling. It's of course like it's only in English, some areas in Canada even speak French. How does it work in those areas?
You mean why is bilingual the language? That's the question, or sorry, I didn't.
Yes, exporters, should be prepared for Canada customs documentation. So in English and Spanish, but some areas they speak French. Only with English and Spanish should be required, or need to add some French depending on the areas where they are exporting to Canada.
No, I think the free trade agreement speaks that the document should be in any language, right? So I would say if your main export area that you are going to is Ontario, in English, I would say it's probably fine, right? But at the end, let's say that, no, it's Montreal, CBSA officers are bilingual, or they should be able to kind of, they won't be stopping the import because of your documents are, I don't know, they are not in French because they are arriving in Montreal and they should be in French, because both are official languages, English and French. So if your documents are in English, it will be perfectly fine. What I'm talking about is the label, like the garments, usually they have a label that has all the, how to wash it and all of these instructions, but everything has to be bilingual, English and French. That's a requirement for the label on the garments and also in the packing. But the documents, it's in English will be fine. And also it's important, for the import documentation, you will need to have a V3, that it's an import declaration. Then you will need to provide a commercial invoice. In this case, the free trade agreement, if it's a certificate of origin, the bill of lading, pretty much these are the main documents that you will need to attach to your import declaration.
Okay, good. Let's see if we have any other question from the public here in Peru. We have 16 people in the room. I can see the names of different companies like Lobo Black, that they're interested in entering into the Canadian market. I see Claire de Lune, Alexandre. I know that you can hear us. If you have any question for Carla, we have the opportunity. We have 5 more minutes with her. So please take advantage of the opportunity to talk to an expert in this actually trade and custom practice between Peru and Canada. Regarding the opportunities, Carla, that you will say to export into Canada, of course, Canada is a large economy. What would you say are the most important opportunity for Peruvian exporters, trying to develop the Canadian market? What would you say in your experience, what are the opportunities in Canada?
I would say textiles and garments, textiles y prendas. I would say that it's one of because the quality is very good in Peru, and I would say that would be a good area of opportunity. Also, other items, I would say I don't know how you say in English, the alpaca and all of these garments. I don't know if alpaca is the same in English, but I know in Spanish. So yeah, I would say garments. That would be a good opportunity. And
here in Peru we have alpaca and baby alpaca. It's a very soft and tender actually fiber. Is great. It also, when we're talking about cotton, we have the Pima cotton. One of the I would say like a very good also fibers here from Peru. So those are opportunities that you can see clearly in the market.
Yeah, and if you consider that here is the weather conditions could be an advantage in terms of having like these type of garments, I would say yes. Yeah. Leather also you have no a good quality in leather products.
Definitely. We have several companies, 2 or 3 companies actually that they produce leather. I have a question from Cristina. Cristina, buenos días. ¿Nos podría informar qué páginas web podemos obtener información sobre tendencias y datos de importación y exportación entre Perú y Canadá? No sé si es alguna
hay un reporte comercial
que puedas compartir con Cristina.
Hay un reporte comercial, lo estoy escribiendo, bilateral en Perú-Canadá. Este fue publicado en 2018, sin embargo creo que tiene vigencia en términos de es solo un año lo que estaría desfasado, pero yo pienso que el próximo mes que cumple 10 años el tratado va a haber muchísimo más publicaciones, porque normalmente cuando se cumplen es el aniversario 10 o 25 de los tratados o es una fecha importante, normalmente se hacen estudios mucho más a conciencia o más para incentivar el tratado. What I was saying is that I believe that next month will be probably more analysis and in-depth probably scripts showing what are the advantage of this free trade agreement for the past 10 years, and probably will have that analysis like more information, like current information. Usually, and that happened, for instance, for the NAFTA between Mexico, US, and Canada. When it was 25 years, it had a very good, each country provide their own analysis, what are the advantages and some areas of opportunity that potentially the free trade agreement will have in the future. So I would say that this is a good start, but probably if we wait until next month, let's say 3-4 weeks, probably something will come as part of the 10th anniversary of the free trade agreement between Peru and Canada.
Tremendous. Also, while you were talking, I just did a quick search on the internet, and there is a report, that is talking about the commercial agreements between actually Peru and Canada. So it's very easy for people to access actually these documents. Gracias, dice Cristina. Gracias, Carla.
De nada, Cristina. De cualquier forma, ahí están mis datos. Si hay alguien que quiera enviar alguna pregunta, sugerencia, quejas, no, gracias. Con mucho gusto, ahí están mis datos.
Gracias. Veo que Lobo Black también están atentos y escuchando tu presentación. Thank you so much. Actually, Carla, it's 9:29. So I believe, Veronica, do you have a final question or something that you want to comment for Carla, our official sponsor of the first Peruvian, interactive trade Peru-Canada?
Well, actually, it's not a question. I just wanted to say thank you so much to Carla for being with us this morning, for sharing this valuable information with all of us. I think we appreciate it and will be very helpful for everyone. So thank you so much for being with us, for being our official sponsor, to believe in this project, to support this project. Also, thank you, Valeria. And we are happy to have you here, and you are invited to join us during all the fair. If you want to visit the different exhibitors that we have, you are very welcome to visit each of them. Thank you so much, Carla, for being here.
Thank you. Gracias, que tengan un feliz día. Hasta pronto.
Thank you so much, Carla. So now we're having actually Juan Gabasa from Latin Magazine coming soon. In the meantime, I'm going to switch the background from the KPMG presentation to Latin magazine. So everybody in the room can see the presentation from Latin magazine, one also of the organizers of this interactive fair, Peru-Canada. I'm just doing the change as we speak. Julio Cesar, thank you so much for your assistance. If you want to come back as a viewer, you can do it, Julio Cesar. Juan, how are you?
Right. Enrique,
Juan, how are you doing? Yes, sir. I can see you very well.
How are you, my friend? Yeah, I can see you very
We
well.
have Veronica here.
I cannot, so I'm going to refresh
días
my screen.
for everyone.
Juan, I'm actually uploading your presentation as we speak. So in the meantime, we just finished the presentation between, from KPMG, our official sponsor. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Enrique, ¿me escuchas?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Hello?
Hello, Juan. Can you hear me?
Hola, Enrique. Yeah, I can hear you.
I just changed the
see
presentation
you
and
very
Latin
well.
magazine is in the background. Can you hear me, Juan?
So yeah, now what happened? Okay, got it.
Juan, can you refresh your page?
Okay, let me check. Okay, my presentation is around now. I will talk in English. Okay, but how many people? Let me see, because I don't know how many people are now, if there are some Canadian people around or are only Latin Americans.
Hello, everybody. I'm back. My name is Enrique Mesones, and I'm helping also Juan Gabasa and Veronica Richards in this first interactive fair, Peru-Canada. I can see Nelly Puertas. See, yep, Nelly, we're working on it. I believe Juan Gabasa and Veronica have to entra de...
Enrique, can you see me
Juan,
now?
how are you? Yes, sir. I can hear you very
I
well.
don't know what's going on.
No worries, you're back. So we have a nice group of
Now let me
Peruvian and
see
Canadian companies. So I have uploaded your presentation in the background, Juan. You can rearrange your video so you can make the presentation on Latin magazine.
I already did it.
So great. So Juan, please go ahead.
Sure. As people can say, the presentation is in Spanish, but let me tell you, I can do it in Spanish or English, whatever you want.
Let's do it in English, Juan.
But let me see if I can move the presentation going on down. Okay, I'm going to talk about Toronto and Canada. Yeah, okay, I will do in English, of course. Yeah. I'm gonna talk about Canada and Toronto, not only.
Apparently, we have disconnected actually Juan. So Juan is having some bandwidth issues, but we'll see. Still from here, from Lima, we continue the presentation. Juan Gabasa is the general manager for Latin Magazine. Actually, Latin Magazine is a digital communication media company created in Toronto, and that they are based on the journalism, quality journalism. They are an independent, and they actually talk different languages, Spanish, English. So let's wait for Juan Gabasa to come back. He's gonna tell us about Toronto, about Canada. Toronto is one of the most exciting cities right now with a lot of diversity. Many companies are going into Toronto. There are some areas that are competing with Silicon Valley in the USA. Only Toronto has like 3 million people living in the city, which is the financial capital of the country and one of the most spectacular, actually, cities in the northern part of America. If you can see everybody here, if you rearrange your video, you will be able to watch, the Juan Gabasa's presentation in the background. So feel free to go and navigate through the presentation so you can read all the exciting information that Juan has for us. I'm going to refresh myself. I'll be back in 5 seconds. All right. Hola a todos. Parece que nos Hello, everybody. I'm back. Well, basically, if you can rearrange your video, you will be able to see Juan Gabasa's presentation in the background, talking about the culture and the lifestyle in Canada. Let me see. I'm connecting again with Juan. Let me see. We're having already 12 people in here: Heidi, Raimundo, Jose, Diego, Gonzalo, Cristina, Claire de Lune. Apparently, our friends from Canada. Hey, Ahmed, how are you?
I'm in the room. I think your region.
We have a group of 30 people.
Has a problem because also Facebook and WhatsApp and a lot of these guys, because there are also a major attack going on, which Peter has reported. It's a malware that they're attacking. But from my side, from Europe, from different parts of the world, and I have gone to Console, which I also reported this to, what's his name? God, what is his name? Ed. I said to Ed.
Apparently, people from Canada are having some issues to enter the room.
Right now, it says, I'm just going to send you a screenshot because normally this is a snapshot. Well, actually, let me discard that. And let me go to LATAM. Okay. Yeah, it says here.
Apparently, since yesterday, major networks have been having issues with the connectivity.
Yeah, this becomes global phenomenon. We obviously are part of it, but we are not. It's not us. Let's put it this way. That's one of the reasons also when, what's his name, said to come in. I said, Jose, I said, if you want to come in as invisible, okay. If you just want to record it because it mutes your audio and video. And
Yep. Hi, Debbie. I can see Debbie's coming from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Hi, Debbie. We are having some issues with people from Canada. They want to connect. We were talking to Juan Gabasa, director of Latin Magazine. But welcome to the fair, Debbie. And I believe you are going to be the person right after Latin Magazine. You will be doing your presentation. Thank you so much. Right now, you have entered as a viewer. I believe Veronica sent you the password and also the broadcasting key to enter as a speaker. So in the next 15 minutes, you just please, coming again, but as a speaker. Thank you, Debbie. So Ahmed, you were telling us that we're having some issues at the network level globally.
Yeah. This is not the you. This is not the servers. This is a issue. Also, there are attacks going on right now, which Peter has sent out through WhatsApp. It's called God Louis or something like that, because they're attacking HTTPS. Remember, there are always bad guys, in the world. So one of the challenges is also protecting the assets. This is where things get more expensive because now you have to add more overhead, more onion layers, and so forth, which I have been lecturing. But on today's special conversation that we are talking, from my side, because I have no power actually. Since 11 o'clock last night, we had no power. So I'm running on a DSL on a 5 megabits. That's why you see my resolution also being very bad, because we are just right now, in fact, in about half an hour, 10 minutes, I'll be out of power completely. So I got to go get gasoline, again, fill out the generator and try to do things to keep it alive.
Thank you. We hope actually the people from Canada, we have Veronica and Juan Gabasa. They are trying to connect.
Right now there are about 15 people in the room. Okay. All of the Sanders, Nelly, Lovelock, Claire, and so forth and so on. But
those are Peruvian and Canadian companies. We were making a presentation. Juan Gabasa, the director of Latin Magazine, was doing a presentation, but unfortunately, something happened that it cut him off. So I'm connecting with them through the WhatsApp to see what's happening.
Yeah, and WhatsApp has got latency too, just to let you know, because Facebook is not, Bogdan shared the links with you. They're not telling us what it is, but they're saying that they're having problems. So unfortunately, sometimes timing of the events with some of these attacks that happens around the globe may have an impact on your broadcast. So Jose, which should come in as a moderator inside the room, okay? And you become a streaming guest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he becomes invisible, and then he can basically record the events without having audio and his microphone. He just grabs from or he can use XSplit. That's one of the reasons I send him instructions. So from Florida, he can do the things that he needs to do for you.
Yep.
But right now, for me, you're okay.
Yeah. We have people from Canada. Actually, Veronica is trying to connect. We have apparently Juan Gabasa is connected also from Canada, but we cannot see him.
Okay. I don't see Juan's name here in the list. I see Enrique, I see.
Bogdan is also checking, is here in the room also, Bogdan.
Yeah,
Checking.
yeah.